At 72, Harold Thompson had grown used to silence. His house in the sleepy town of Maplewood creaked like an old friend, a familiar background to a life lived in quiet repetition. The kettle whistled at 7 o'clock a.m. sharp. The mail clattered through the slot by 9. Lunch was a sandwich, always ham and cheese. And evenings? A slow crawl of time between the 6 o'clock news and the midnight chime of the grandfather clock his wife once adored. Edna. Her name still hung in the air, even 7 years after her passing. Sometimes Harold would forget she was gone, reaching out to ask if she remembered the neighbor's name or where they kept the extra batteries. And then the cold truth would rush in, a silence so vast it seemed to echo. He had been an aerospace engineer, one of the sharp minds behind the guidance systems of the early Mars rovers. His work had once meant something. He remembered the long nights, the excitement of breakthroughs, the camaraderie. Retirement came with a watch and a hollow farewell party. Since then, time seemed to fold in on itself, every day indistinguishable from the last. One Tuesday morning in early spring, Harold shuffled to the town square for the weekly farmers market. It was more habit than necessity. He picked up a jar of honey, greeted the usual faces with a nod, and was about to turn back when a burst of color caught his eye. A woman was painting, right there on the sidewalk. Her canvas captured the town square with bold strokes and wild hues. Children danced in her depiction, the trees shimmered with impossible greens, and the sky swirled like Van Gogh had risen from the grave. Harold squinted. The artist wore a wide straw hat, her silver hair spilling over her shoulders like moonlight. Something in her posture stirred a long, dormant memory. "Martha?" he called, voice cracking. She turned slowly, peering over her glasses. Her smile lit up like a sunrise. "Well, I'll be Harold Thompson. It's been what, 50 years?" They laughed, awkward and warm, like slipping into an old jacket that still fit. Martha had been the girl down the street, the one who always had paint under her nails and a rebellious streak that terrified Harold's rule-bound heart. She had never married, chose art instead. She traveled the world, Paris, Lisbon, Buenos Aires, painting streets, people, moments. And now, she was back in Maplewood, staying temporarily to take care of her sister. "You always were the serious one," she teased, tapping his chest lightly. "Still are, I bet." Harold blushed. Well, someone had to be. Over the next weeks, Harold found himself drawn to the square more and more. He brought Martha coffee. Sometimes she'd hand him a brush. "Help me with the sky," she'd say. "It needs a little Harold." He laughed at first. Then he painted, clumsily, self-consciously. But something about the colors, the freedom, chipped away at the weight he carried. They began taking walks, long ones, talking about youth, about what could have been, what still could be. Martha spoke of mistakes as colors that didn't quite match, still part of the painting. Harold began to see his life not as a decline, but as a canvas still in progress. One evening, they sat beneath the old elm tree by the river. "Do you ever think it's too late?" Harold asked. Martha looked at him. "To do what?" "To start again. To feel alive." She took his hand. "Spring doesn't ask the tree how old it is. It just comes." That night, Harold couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, heart thumping like it hadn't in years. He thought of Edna, her kindness, her loyalty, her quiet dreams. And he thought of Martha, her spark, her untamed spirit. Both had loved him in different ways. One memory, one present. He got up, went to the attic, and pulled down a box labeled "Not Important." Inside were his old sketchbooks from college, doodles he'd made in secret while studying engineering. Rockets, yes, but also trees, faces, even Edna's laugh caught in graphite lines. He brought the box downstairs. In the morning, he showed it to Martha. She leafed through it, eyes wide. "Harold, you're an artist." "I was just fooling around." "Then let's fool around more." Weeks turned into months. Harold began painting every day. He painted the diner, the train station, the park bench where Edna used to read. His style was tight, precise, like blueprints in color. Martha encouraged him to loosen up, to let go. At the Maplewood Autumn Festival, Harold and Martha hosted a joint exhibition. His paintings hung beside hers, order beside chaos, logic beside emotion. The townspeople came in droves. Many didn't know Harold even liked art. One boy, no older than 10, stared at Harold's painting of the town library. "It looks like it could fly," the boy whispered. Harold smiled. "Maybe it can." That night, under fairy lights and falling leaves, Harold and Martha danced. He hadn't danced in years. His knees ached, but his heart felt young. "You gave me back something I didn't know I'd lost," he told her. Martha leaned her head on his shoulder. "You gave yourself back." The seasons rolled on. Winter came, soft and forgiving. Harold's house, once silent, now held the scent of turpentine and laughter. Martha moved in that Christmas. "Just temporarily," she said with a wink. "Until spring." But spring never came alone again. It came with Harold's second bloom, with laughter, color, and love rediscovered. At 73, Harold Thompson was no longer waiting for life to pass. He was painting it, one bold stroke at a time.